X Talks connects professionals in the life science, medical device, and food industries with useful content like webinars, job openings, articles, and virtual meetings to help you succeed in your career. This life science focused podcast brings together some of our editorial staff to share insights into the latest B2B industry news to keep you up to date. This week on the show, we're discussing Sanofi's enzyme replacement therapy wins FDA approval and InPen gets backing from Disney star Jennifer Stone in diabetes tech campaign. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the X Talks Life Science Podcast. I'm Ayesha Rashid, Senior Life Science Journalist at xtalks.com, and this week I'm joined by Sydney Perlmutter and Vera Kovacevic. Thanks for coming today. I'm going to start us off with a story about a new FDA approval for an enzyme replacement therapy for a rare disease. So Sanofi's enzyme replacement therapy called Xenpozyme has won FDA approval for the treatment of adult and pediatric patients with a rare disease, a rare metabolic disease called acid sphingomyelinase deficiency, or ASMD. So ASMD is a rare genetic lysosomal storage disease caused by mutations in the sphingomyelin phosphodiesterase 1 or SMPD1 gene, which codes for the ASM enzyme. Now, ASM is required for the breakdown of a complex lipid called sphingomyelin. Due to the enzyme deficiency, the lipid accumulates in the liver, spleen, lung, and brain, causing symptoms including things like an enlarged abdomen, which can result in pain, vomiting, feeding difficulties, and falls. So lysosomal storage diseases are rare inherited disorders characterized by metabolic deficiencies, resulting in the toxic buildup of materials, such as in the case of ASMD, the buildup of sphingomyelin, that complex lipid, which can't be broken down by the body. So Sanofi's Xenpozyme received approvals in Japan and Europe this year, and now it's secured one from the FDA in the U.S., and it's indicated for the treatment of non-central nervous system or non-CNS manifestations of ASMD in, again, both adult and pediatric patients. Now, in severe cases of this rare progressive disorder, which is historically known as Niemann-Pick disease types A, B, and B, patients have significant neurologic symptoms and they rarely survive beyond 2 to 3 years of age. Now, other patients may survive into adulthood but die prematurely from respiratory failure. Now, taking a closer look at the drug, Xenpozyme is a hydrolytic lysosomal sphingomyelin-specific enzyme replacement therapy, which replaces deficient or defective ASM enzyme to help reduce the accumulation of sphingomyelin in vital body organs. So according to Sanofi, of the less than 120 people diagnosed with ASMD in the U.S., about 2/3 of them are children. So there's a significant unmet need, especially in the pediatric population, in terms of the patients who have ASMD. So Sanofi picked up, again, as I mentioned, the first approval for Xenpozyme in the world for the treatment of Niemann-Pick in Japan in March, and that was followed by an approval in Europe in May. Now, Xenpozyme is administered intravenously every 2 weeks with a dose escalation phase followed by a maintenance phase. In a press release, Sanofi said Xenpozyme is not expected to cross the blood-brain barrier nor impact CNS manifestations of ASMD, and so that's why it's indicated, again, for non-CNS or non-neurologic manifestations of the disease. The FDA approval was based on data from the randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled ASCEND study, which involved 31 adult patients. Patients in the trial received either Xenpozyme or placebo for a period of 52 weeks. And results from the trial showed that treatment with Xenpozyme improved lung function and also reduced liver and spleen size. The treatment was also assessed in the pediatric arm of the study called ASCEND-PEDS, which included 8 pediatric patients younger than 12 years of age with ASMD who all received Xenpozyme. The pediatric patients showed improvements similar to the adult patients with respect to lung function, as well as reductions in liver and spleen sizes. Now, in the trials, 75% of pediatric patients and 50% of adult patients experienced adverse reactions while receiving Xenpozyme. And some of these reactions included things like headaches, nausea, and vomiting. Sanofi said that Xenpozyme is expected to be available in the U.S. in the coming weeks with a list price of just over $7,000 per vial. And the company says that the actual patient out-of-pocket costs may be lower because the list price does not reflect insurance coverage, copay support for eligible patients, or financial assistance from patient support programs. Now, in its commitment to help improve treatment access and affordability of innovative therapies, Sanofi said that it provides disease education as well as financial and copay assistance programs, as well as other support services to eligible patients. So the FDA approval of Xenpozyme actually came just ahead of its October 3rd target date, and that date had been extended by 3 months by the FDA. So Xenpozyme had received Fast Track, Breakthrough Therapy, Orphan Drug, as well as Priority Review designations from the FDA. And the FDA also awarded the sponsor, Enzyme, which was acquired by Sanofi in 2011. So it's under Sanofi now. The FDA awarded the company a rare pediatric disease priority review voucher as well, which is an incentive to encourage the development of new drugs and biologics for the prevention and treatment of rare diseases in children. So the FDA says that more than 7,000 rare diseases affect more than 30 million people in the U.S., and it estimates that half of the most serious and life-threatening of the rare diseases affect children. Now, in addition to Xenpozyme, Sanofi also received approval for another enzyme replacement therapy in Europe this year as the first new treatment option for Pompe disease approved in Europe in more than 15 years. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on this very important and significant new FDA approval for this rare disease.
So you were mentioning types A, B, AB. Do they relate to blood types at all?
Actually, they don't. So that's, Niemann-Pick disease, which is the historic name for ASMD. And the types I mentioned, specifically types A, AB, and B. So they actually don't relate to blood type. So there is also a subset of C. So Niemann-Pick type C1 and type C2 as well. So, I know it does appear that it might be related to blood type, but it's not.
You need to get more letters.
They're at C right now. So. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask, you mentioned that for this drug, right?
Yeah.
There is a dose escalation phase before a maintenance phase. So just wondering, how long is the dose escalation phase?
Yeah, I was just looking at the prescribing information, and the dose escalation phase is, for adult patients, it's up until week 12. So that would be 3 months. And then the maintenance phase, which is actually a higher dose. So the dose, I think it's at 3 megs per kilogram. So that's the recommended maintenance dose. And that begins at week 14 and beyond then. And then for pediatric patients, it's pretty similar. But the maintenance phase begins at week 16 instead of week 14 as in adults. And again, it's given intravenously every 2 weeks. So that's pretty good in terms of, a lesser patient burden. So these patients aren't taking this, every week or every day. Every 2 weeks is so twice a month. Essentially, they'll have to go in for that IV infusion.
You were mentioning enzyme replacement therapy. In your writing of articles, Ayesha, and your reviews of FDA approvals, how common do you see enzyme replacement therapies?
To be honest, not too common. And that is probably just a reflection of the fact that a lot of these enzyme replacement therapies are being developed for, rare diseases like lysosomal storage diseases. And so because the diseases are so rare, you don't see a lot of approvals of enzyme replacement therapies. But definitely they've been around for a while. There are some for Gaucher disease, Fabry disease, which I have talked about and written about. And then I did mention Pompe disease as well. So the thing with enzyme replacement therapies, in my opinion, I think is that they do replace the enzyme, obviously, if there's a deficiency. However, it doesn't target the underlying cause. And I think a lot of the efforts these days is towards really trying to pinpoint and to target the underlying genetic cause of the enzyme deficiency. So through gene therapy, really, I think that's where a lot of the research and focus is these days. But that's not to say that enzyme replacement therapies are not useful or are not helping patients.
Oh, and at the end of your article, you just mentioned Pompe disease. Is Pompe disease another rare disease?
It is. So it's another lysosomal storage disease. And so in Pompe disease is basically there's an enzyme that breaks down glycogen, which is a complex sugar. So that in Pompe disease, you're essentially missing that enzyme. And then so you have, the toxic buildup of glycogen, and that can damage muscles and organs.
Okay, so once again, another disease with either enzyme deficiency or lack of an enzyme.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's great to see that. It's great to see this new approval for ASMD and also Niemann-Pick, and how Sanofi also, like you mentioned, picked up another approval for another enzyme replacement therapy for Pompe disease. So it's good that, and these therapies are very effective. I mean, including according to the clinical trial data, it led to significant reductions in spleen, liver size, and really improved lung function. So it's definitely these are definitely drugs that can really help patients. All right, let's move on to our next story. And this is a story about medtech and innovations in the medtech world. So Medtronic, which is, one of the world's leading medtech companies, has teamed up with Disney Channel's Wizards of Waverly Place actress Jennifer Stone to help promote its reusable smart insulin injectable InPen, as well as raise awareness about other diabetes tech. So Jennifer Stone is best known for playing Harper Finkel in the children's TV show, which also starred Selena Gomez. And the show ran from 2007 to 2012. So Medtronic announced that it is partnering with the actress in a campaign to help raise awareness about, again, both the InPen as well as other diabetes tech. So Medtronic, in announcing the partnership with Stone last month, said that the actress is a passionate advocate for the Medtronic InPen, which she's been using for a few years to help simplify her diabetes management routine and decrease many of the daily decisions and calculations that were previously required before using this technology. So the InPen system helps patients take the correct amount of insulin and at the right time. So the smart pen technology is linked to an app on your phone, And again, Medtronic says that the system simplifies the calculations and mental math of diabetes management. So together, Medtronic and Jennifer Stone want to help raise awareness about advanced technologies for people like herself who are living with type 1 diabetes. Now, so far, the campaign features a video on Medtronic's YouTube channel in which Jennifer Stone describes how she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes back in 2013 at the age of 20. And she said that her diagnosis actually inspired her to change her major to nursing from psychology to learn more about her body, her condition, and to help others living with their own health problems. So Jennifer Stone actually had taken a bit of a hiatus from filming the show back in 2013 to go to college, and that's when she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So she currently works as a registered nurse in Los Angeles and is also focusing on her acting career at the same time. And to help with her diabetes management, she's been using the injectable InPen for the past couple of years. So Jennifer Stone in the video describes her experience with the InPen and how it allows her to manage her condition while juggling two very demanding careers. And there are also photos of Jennifer Stone with the InPen on the company's website. Now, it's not known whether Medtronic will have any direct-to-consumer ads as part of the campaign. So in a news release from Medtronic, Jennifer Stone said that it can be very daunting to be diagnosed with type 1 diabetes because it's something you have to live with for the rest of your life and manage every single day. And she went on to say that when she was first diagnosed, she said that she remembers feeling like no one truly understood what I was going through, and I struggled for a while to learn what solutions worked best for my diabetes management. And she's thrilled that she found the Medtronic InPen system, which fits seamlessly into her life and makes living with diabetes easier. Now, as I mentioned, Medtronic's Smart InPen offers personalized insulin dosing recommendations and reminders, as well as carb counting support, tracking insulin levels in the body, calculating carb to insulin ratios, as well as automatic logging of doses on the mobile app. And then the dose calculator uses the glucose levels and a carbohydrate estimate to recommend an appropriate insulin dose. And so these features together can really help patients manage their diabetes. The InPen also provides a whole host of information automatically, making it easier for patients to make their diabetes decisions, including, just thinking less about making those decisions. And reports from the InPen can be sent directly to a mobile app for easy visibility and tracking with healthcare teams and loved ones. So Medtronic says that through technologies like the Medtronic InPen system, we're working to decrease the number of decisions that people living with diabetes have to make every day so that they spend less time on diabetes management and more time on living their best life. And they went on to say that they're excited to partner with Jennifer Stone to broaden awareness around the power of diabetes technology and the important role it can play in their life. Medtronic is also including non-celebrity patients who use the InPen in its campaign as well. In addition to the InPen, Medtronic also markets a whole host of different types of type 1 diabetes products, including its MiniMed series of insulin pumps and the Guardian continual glucose monitoring system. And the company says that it's also working on new connected tech that links these systems together. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on this new partnership. And as we've seen, whenever companies rope in a celebrity or a big name as part of awareness ad campaigns, it's always a plus. And what do you think about, the company's overall efforts in trying to simplify diabetes management for patients through things like the InPen?
Well, I think their rationale behind trying to get celebrities or other famous people for their ads or their like pharma ads or medical device ads is just so they can spread more awareness, right? And for example, if this actress, right, Jennifer Stone, if she has a large social media presence, that can also help spread awareness. Unfortunately, lots of people that do have type 1 diabetes tend to be young people. They may look up to her. She may be a good role model for them. And regarding this InPen, I think it's really great because I think it's a great option for patients who may not want to be on insulin pumps. So they can just use the InPen. Or, other patients who don't want to be connected to a device, right? So, or who may want a break from a pump, right?
I like this because it's an example of, a celebrity or potentially even like an influencer using their fame for a good cause rather than something stupid. Like I feel like we see 99% of the time. So it's excellent. And it also, as you were talking about this, just like really pushed forward the notion that, having diabetes in this era doesn't have to be, life sucking, like time sucking. It doesn't have to be like, it used to be, which I imagine was much more difficult. And I like that younger people have, and everyone has the option to like, use an app and use technology that's available to like just make their lives more convenient. So yeah, overall, excellent campaign.
Such a great point. Really, with, innovations in the diabetes tech space, like you were saying, Sydney, like it really allows patients to not let, some of their conditions consume their life, so that they can live as normal of a life as possible and live with a condition as easily as they can. So it's really great to see how tech is really helping drive innovations in this space for diabetes. And it's really great to see celebrity endorsements and partnerships and, celebrities that, if for other ad campaigns, sometimes, the celebrities don't even have firsthand experience with whatever they're talking about, right? But here you have somebody who is living with the disease. And this also actually reminds me of Nick Jonas, who also has type 1 diabetes. And he's very vocal about it and is always part of different ad campaigns to do with different diabetes interventions, drugs, or monitors and things like that. So it's really great to see that you have, these younger celebrities with, these chronic and, conditions, and how they're really helping to raise awareness and to help others that may look to them and to just spread awareness, really. So pretty cool. All right, that's the end of this episode of the X Talks Life Science Podcast. If you liked today's show, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Thanks, everyone, and see you next week. Bye.
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 Thanks for listening to the X Talks Life Science Podcast. If you enjoyed our discussions today, please share the episode with your friends and colleagues, and be sure to subscribe in order to be notified when a new episode is released. To join in on the discussion, you can find X Talks on social media. Email podcast@xtalks.com or comment on the articles directly. Links are in the show description. Take a moment to join our community at xtalks.com to get access to everything we have to offer, including webinars, job listings, virtual meetings, articles, and more. The views and opinions expressed in the podcast are those of the speakers sharing them. They should not be taken as professional advice and do not necessarily reflect the policy or position Honeycomb Worldwide. For further information, email us at podcast@xtalks.com. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.